Hi everyone. So I had a very good kind of live streaming session which I liked because I had a lot of questions, lot of queries and lot of requests also for taking a few topics in light, and I love that a lot of you participated, and I mean it encourages me to create more videos and to spread my knowledge over here. So yeah, let's not delay the point. I had like 4 to 5 requests about the things, like one is for kitchen designing, one is for office designing, one is for light again, one was for I think color I think again. So yeah, today I'm gonna tell you about the office, that how to design a small office. Like I'm not talking about a huge office or a very tiny office. I'm just telling you like a occupancy of like 4 to 12. Like this is the office size. If minimum 4, maximum is 12. It may be less than that also. I'm just going to tell you some basic that you have to keep in your mind while designing an office, which will help you to identify and understand that these are the points that we can take care while designing an office, which may help you regarding like the correct decisions of your designing point, where you have to turn, where you have to stop, and where you have to excel, like that. So yeah, let's start without wasting the time. So once you design the office, there are like 3 important points. If you are able to cover all these 3 points, then of course you are able to cover everything in office designing. So the first point is profession. That what is the profession of that client or the person for whom you are designing the office? Let it be your relative, your friend, or anybody. But then at that point, when you're designing for somebody, that person becomes your client automatically. So you cannot relate their choices and taste and everything according to your friend's choice. You have to just come up with this thought, because you are professionally engaging with them. So first of all, learn to respect your profession, which I do a lot, and I respect everybody to do the same. So let it be any of your relative or your friend or anybody. But then first, if you're helping them, then of course you should be in that way. So yeah, I'm talking about the 3 points, that if you have covered all 3 points while designing a office, I think you are able to cover everything. So the first point is profession. You have to understand the profession of that client or of that person, that what is his profession, because without that you won't be able to design anything according to that person. If he's a CA or a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist or an interior designer or a civil engineer, like he's a beautician or like he's a nutritionist, whatsoever, you have to understand the profession first. Let's take an example, small example of a lawyer first. So when in my very like early career, like I think maybe before like 8 or 9 years, I designed an office for a lawyer. At that time I just I went through some of my theoretical knowledge, and then later when I just spoke to him, I came to know a lot of stuff, that it's just not about the books. There are a lot of stuffs that we have to take care while designing a lawyer's office. So that gave me an idea. So whatever I have learned, it's few like 20% from book, and rest of the 80% is from my experience. It totally comes out of experience, I'm telling you. No matter which book you study, it totally comes out of your experience. So you have to work as much as possible. Yeah. So you have to understand the profession. If he's a doctor, definitely he would need that patient stool beside him. If he's a lawyer, definitely he needs a huge case for his books. Books are just not for the show off or just for keeping them. They have a lot of case study when it comes to their practical stuff. I don't much know about them, but then yeah, whatever I know. So the books they keep is just not for the show off or something like that. They have to do a lot of case studies, and they have to keep themselves updated, and it's a lot of stuff to remember actually. So every each and then no, there is nobody beside to remind you, like a system or a mobile or anything like that. So for that, and they're very sharp from brain, and for that reason they have to have that. And in the same way, if you talk about me, like or a designer, I personally need like a huge table. I'm not the person who can work in a very small table. I just need at least 6 by 3 table. That's the minimum size of the table that I can work on. No doubt that I occupy maximum is like 25-inch by 25-inch space, but then rest of the space I want my stuff, I want everything beside me. So that is my basic requirement as an interior designer. I want my writing pad right next to me, I want my sketchbook right next to me, I want my pens, I want my like drawings, I want everything in my table. So that's according to my profession. And some people, it comes from the liking also. So first thing, you have to understand the profession. Second and important thing is you have to identify how many people, what kind of users and what kind of job do they have. Say suppose if it is for a clerical post, if he's a clerk, what kind of work he would do. He would definitely need a computer, and if he's using a computer, not the laptop, because in offices generally you don't use laptops, you always have those computers with your CPUs and all everything. Company may give you that laptop, but then that's, I don't think you have that specific particular systems. So you would need like 2 plug points for your one for your monitor, one for your CPU, and if you have UPS and all everything for that plug point, one you need for your charging phone, and one anyways you need extra. So you have to understand. And if he's just like a person who takes notes, like if somebody is having a personal assistant and they just take notes via paper pen, not through the system or anything like that, they don't update anything on their laptops or anything, so you don't need that much of light points over there. You need a nice light that directly falls into the desk of that person, like that. So first of all, you have to understand that. The second point was people and what they are working is that you should know. Because if you talk about my office, I had like 6 desks for my team members. All of them had like 6 plug points, and they have to have those thumbnails, that padding area to thumb something, because if they want to complete a particular task, it has to be in front of their face. It should flash all the day in their faces, so that they are able to complete the work. So in that way, so, and they want to have their bag or some personal stuff to keep. For that reason, they have to have a cupboard also. So this defines this is a small example. I think this tells you a lot, that why you have to understand that what kind of job that person is having. So this is the second point. And third and most important point, that most of the people just don't I don't want to say they don't take care of this, but then they take it a little light, that okay, if it is electrical, then I know a lot about electrical stuff. So you have to understand one thing, that it totally, not totally, 20% is your effort and 80% requirements come from your client, that what kind of electrical points they need, how many electrical points they need. And on top of that, you can grease it with your knowledge, with your previous experiences, like I do. Most of my clients, they tell me like, I want 3 plug points just beside me, and then I just have to remind them that, are you having a printer beside you, do you have this, do you have that. I have to ask a lot of questions according to their profession. So that's how it works. Because if you forget one electrical point also, then it becomes like they regret on that point every single time whenever they need that. So everything comes for the designer. Then everybody's gonna say, अरे यार मैं तो भूल गया, डिज़ाइनर तो लगा सकती थी यहाँ पे, what is this? So like that. So for that reason, you have to understand all the requirements of your client in terms of electrical point. So when it comes for the electrical point, you have to take care of the light also. Say for if it is a creative person, like interior designers, architects or civil engineers, or like painters, artists, anything like that, or they're like makeup artist or anything like that. So you have to understand that they need a particular light, certain kind of light. Like I like to have dual light provision. Maybe I can just sneak down into my office someday, because it's lockdown right now. Once we are open, I'm going to show you my office definitely. So I have dual light system. One is daylight and one is like mood light, that is warm white light. So I have 2 controls for that. So those are the daylight is like it's a panel of 2 by 2, So I have two in my office. So when I lit them, it's all white light. And when I just switch them off and I want my mood lights, then I have like all warm white chandeliers, some hanging lights, some wall lamps, some like desk light and all everything. So I have that kind of ambience and decor in my office, through which I am just able to create that mood in my office also, that if clients are coming, I just want to, I mean, have a deep conversation, and if I want to counsel them and all, I cannot do that in the mood lighting. I mean, I can do definitely, but most of the clients don't prefer that. They feel like, okay, we are sitting in a cafe or what. I mean, it's more comfortable to do, but then some people prefer, some don't. So for them, I have this lighting, and most of the time, I'm not the person who uses daylight. I'm just the person who always likes to be into the mood lights. I mean, yeah, I like that way. So yeah, these are the 3 points that you have to take care. First is the profession, that what kind of office it is going to be, and second, you have to understand the team member and their work and their job, that like what kind of requirements would pop up if they are working in this particular area, that you have covered all the points. And third and most important point is the electrical point. In that, lighting also comes. So lighting ke baad mein it comes for the AC also. Like few people are not, I mean, they don't like AC, they like fans noise, So, and I'm the person, I don't like fans noise. It's a noise for me. I'm just like, either you just, I don't want the AC also, but then I don't want the fan also. I'm just so matlab, I can't tell you that it irritates me all the way. I cannot work with that. So few people have their own kind of, you can say, requirements. It's very personal, so you have to counsel your client. 80% of data for any property to be designed comes directly from the client. It's your job, it's your way, that how you extract it. It's totally your way, because they are not going to tell you that I need this. Of course they have a list, but then that is very limited. That is what they can see from like a normal view. But then we are the designers, we have that eagle eye. We do every of our job in a perspective drawing, so we have that eagle eye option. So we should utilize that. Yep, I think I have spoken enough about the small offices. In my next video, I'm going to tell you like big offices, how you should create the cubicles, what is the reception area, what, I mean, stuff like that. Thank you.